lightest and brightest XR glasses on the market. That's basically the pitch for the VIZO Z1 Pro. And I've tested enough of these now to know those are bold claims. XREAL, RayNeo, Viture, I've worn them all. And I'll say this straight away. These might actually be the best looking XR glasses I've ever tried. They feel incredibly light, and indoors the display looks solid. But the real question isn't whether they're light, bright, and good looking. The real question is, can they stand out in this increasingly crowded XR display glasses market, or does the trade-off between looks and display quality hold them back? I'm going to judge these the same way I judge most XR display glasses, across 3 use cases: movies and shows. Are they actually good for watching content? Productivity. Can you actually use them for real work, or are they mostly a media device? And gaming. Do they work as a smooth, portable big screen? But before we get into any of those, let's quickly cover what these are and what makes them different. The first impression is a little mixed. When you take them out of the box, the packaging feels kind of like a cheaper version of the Viture Beast. Not bad, but not exactly premium either. To be fair, I'd still say the packaging feels better than RayNeo's box. But the glasses themselves feel quite good. The build does not feel cheap. The headline pitch is simple. VIZO says the Z1 Pro weighs 63 grams, has 6000 nits peak brightness, up to 1500 nits to eye, and gives you a 160-inch projection at 5 meters. The first thing you actually notice is the design. These look much closer to Aviator style sunglasses than XR glasses. And honestly, these are the glasses I'd be most comfortable wearing in public. They still look like tech once the cable is attached, but compared to something like the RayNeo Air 4 Pro, the design is much easier to pull off in public. They are also very light. I do buy that these are among the lightest XR glasses I've tried. But I want to be careful with the comfort claim. They feel lighter than the other options on the market, but I would not say they are dramatically more comfortable than something like the RayNeo Air 4 Pro, which I already find quite comfortable. Some quick notes on the features and setup. First, these connect over USB-C, but your phone, tablet, or laptop needs to support DisplayPort output over USB-C. A charging-only USB-C port is not enough. Second, there are physical controls. One button switches between brightness and volume, and the other 2 adjust up and down. Third, they have built-in myopia adjustment from 0 to minus 600 degrees with an independent dial for each eye. That means some nearsighted users may not need prescription inserts, which is a nice differentiator. So on paper and on first impression, VIZO is clearly aiming for something lightweight, stylish, and practical without too many frills. The question is, does that actually deliver? For movies indoors, the Z1 Pro is genuinely good. The screen looks large, bright, and vivid enough for movies, YouTube, and sports. It does not feel small. And one thing that surprised me in a good way is the audio. The built-in speakers are actually quite good for this category. Loud, solid, and very usable without headphones. The screen follows your head smoothly. I didn't feel the laggy follow mode effect I noticed sometimes with the XREAL 1S. There's also a 3D mode. You can long press the minus button to toggle between 2D and 3D. But the manual says watching local side-by-side 3D video files in 3D mode requires a separate VIZO streaming player, which is not included in the package. So 3D is there, but with some caveats. Brightness is where things get interesting. VIZO claims 6000 nits peak and up to 1500 nits to eye, which sounds extremely bright. And indoors, the display is good. But when I watched the same scene on the RayNeo Air 4 Pro, which is my current favorite display, the RayNeo looked brighter, clearer, more vivid, and just better to my eyes. That does not mean the VIZO display is bad. It isn't. But it does mean I would not assume the headline brightness claim automatically makes this the best display. And once you move into a bright room or outside in direct sunlight, the gap becomes more obvious. In bright sunlight, the VIZO screen is very hard to see. It does not feel like a private XR screen. It feels more like a heads-up display. You can see the content, but you can also see the world behind it. The background bleeds through, contrast drops, and the whole thing becomes much less watchable. Some people may like the openness. You stay aware of your surroundings. You're never fully cut off. But if you're looking for a true XR display experience outdoors, more enclosed options like the RayNeo with the light blocker do a better job. So for movies and shows, indoors, good. Travel, good. Audio, surprisingly strong. Bright room, compromised. Direct sunlight, not the use case. Productivity is where the Z1 Pro struggles. When I first plugged these into my computer and opened a spreadsheet, they seemed usable at first. And there is one thing I actually liked. Because of the way the glasses are designed, the display is semi-transparent and there's plenty of open space around the edges. So I could still see my keyboard and mouse pretty easily, almost more like XREAL than RayNeo, which has a darker, more enclosed screen. But after using them, my eyes clearly felt strained. And then I plugged in the RayNeo Air 4 Pro to remind myself what this type of setup should feel like, and the difference was immediate. The RayNeo's display was significantly clearer, brighter, more vivid, and easier to use for a spreadsheet. That matters because VIZO does market these for work efficiency. But in my testing, the VIZO might actually slow down my productivity instead of improving it. There's also no anchor mode, no XREAL style spatial screen management, and no multi-window platform. So for me, this is clearly not a strong productivity use case. Gaming is where the Z1 Pro earns its keep. You get a large screen in front of you, the colors look decent, and follow mode was smooth. No lag when I moved my head. The audio was also loud and solid during gaming, no issues there, and comfort was fine too. The glasses are light enough that gaming feels like a natural use case for them. I also compared it to the RayNeo Air 4 Pro and the experience was similar. But if I'm being completely honest, the display still looked slightly better on the RayNeo. So gaming works well on the VIZO. I just wouldn't say it beats RayNeo on display quality. VIZO also markets SteamVR support via 3DOF head tracking, and according to its own documentation, this uses posture tracking software on a PC. That makes it an interesting bonus feature, but not the main reason I would buy these. So, lightest, based on how these feel on my face, I buy it. Best looking? For me, yes, easily. Brightest? That's where I'd be careful. In my real-world indoor comparison, the RayNeo Air 4 Pro still looked brighter, clearer, and more vivid to my eyes. And outdoors, the VIZO does not deliver the magic private theater experience the spec sheet might make you imagine. Price matters too. I got the VIZO Z1 Pro at the super early bird price of $329 with free shipping against an advertised MSRP of $718. The RayNeo Air 4 Pro sits at around $299 and is the most direct comparison at this price point. So VIZO needs to make a strong case for why you would choose it instead. So the choice is pretty clear. If you want the better display experience across most use cases, I'd lean RayNeo. If you want the lighter, better looking, more variable glasses with built-in myopia adjustment, the VIZO makes sense. But for my use case, I care more about display quality, indoors, outdoors, and for productivity. So I would pass on these. Thanks for watching. See you next time.